As you all might know, I love Fire Emblem and I cannot wait to get my gritty hands on Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave because I know that game will be awesome. Well, I hope at least, because you never know with intelligent systems. Today I set my journey further in the Fire Emblem series and move away from Three Houses to play the most recent Fire Emblem game and maybe the most hated and loved game of the whole series, Fire Emblem Engage. I don't really care what people think of this game, so I'm replaying this game with an open mind. Either way, I hope you are ready for a much different video compared to my usual playthrough journeys, because I have decided to revamp the video formula just a bit, to leave like the boring parts out and to just focus on what I really liked in the game. And I also made the scope of the project a lot smaller, because right now I do not have a lot of time to work on videos that are like hours long, and it sucks, but that's how it is. But I know you don't care. So on we go with an unforgettable journey of dragons and swords, of betrayal and friendship, of a blue and red hairline, because why is the character design this? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I think Alir's design is just okay, but they don't have the byleth drip. Aside for all that, at least Alir has some character, and he isn't really the most stupid leader either, because every other Fire Emblem lord who tried to fight back, Alir decided that it would be smarter to run away from some unknown enemies that might just be stronger than them. But the children Quick and Quack had other plans and rushed in. This is a fun little tutorial to learn about the mechanics in the game and mash that together with the next map, and yeah, you got a really good and pretty fun tutorial. Let's just forget about the nonsensical prologue though, because yeah, it just doesn't make sense, it doesn't fit with the story, and we learned nothing. But I guess it can be excused, cause it's a dream. I suppose dreams can give tutorials to people now. Next time I dream, I hope I get a tutorial on how to get $10 million. The actual real first map of this game is the Castle Assault, where a bunch of green units attack the castle. They have obviously always been the enemy in Fire Emblem because of their constant XP stealing. We also meet a bunch of other cool guys who we will definitely keep using in our playthrough because of how good they are. I'm joking, they will not see the light of day again once they fall off. Luckily enough, they are good enough to clear this map pretty easily. Oh, and for those wondering, I am playing on normal difficulty because I just wanted to have fun for now, and maybe at some point I will play Maddening, but maybe I'll play Maddening at some point. Maybe. Keep in mind that from now on I won't be talking about a single character we get in our team unless they are somewhat special in my playthrough. And because we get a lot of characters, your favorite will probably not be mentioned. I will also not talk about every map I do because there are also a lot of those, and I'm not insane enough to go in depth for all of them. There aren't too many notable maps going forward, but I really did like this one where we met Lewis and the other people who didn't get used very much in this playthrough. Lewis is an incredibly sturdy character whose only weakness is a nerd reading their tomes. He is incredibly versatile and is amazing when paired with Sigurd, to the point of invincibility. There are a few other characters that come to mind that I used an incredible amount to once again the point of being indestructible. That's where Yunaka comes in. At first she isn't much of a character because she's a knife user, and we all know that knife users in Fire Emblem are bad. But in this Fire Emblem game, they're not. Thieves are actually really good dodge tanks, and knives actually deal a lot more damage than you think. And also because this game gives you the ability to reset your levels and actually keep on leveling up, we can create Yunaka the Great if we want to. And of course we pair her with Micaiah because that's what she's introduced with, and also Micaiah can just easily get a lot of XP because of Great Sacrifice. So I'm not gonna lie, that's a great deal for me. Story wise, Lumera dies in like a 10-minute long cutscene where she tells Alir that she wishes she could spend more time with him, but like she is spending 10 minutes of her life just doing that. But because Alir is now technically parentless, the fate of every Fire Emblem main character by the way, Marv decides to become the mentor of Alir and teach him a thing or two on how to be a main protagonist of a Fire Emblem game. Starting with recruiting underage units because that's definitely legal once a war breaks out. So we get Anna and John, two very much adults who we can use in our ranks. John is a very important character in this game as he shows us why the staves are the only item in this game with durability. Otherwise I would be able to do this infinitely, creating a super gene. But because because healing staves are not that rare nor expensive, I was still able to make Super Gene. Yeah, I had an incredible unit for the first half of the game and it kind of made everything easy. Once again, story-wise, Alear is collecting all the rings and conveniently travels to all of the different places that have rings. So they can make a super mega ring or something and, you know, defeat the mega super evil or something. We continue towards Brodia and meet Alchrist, who is basically the best boy in this game and might be the best bow unit we have gotten. We also meet Diamant and his father. I don't know his name, but since Diamant is supposed to be one of the main characters of the game, we all know what will happen to their father. And so the story continues to reach a first kind of climax, where we supposedly lose all of our power and emblem rings. Luckily for me, I paid 25 bucks a long time ago for the DLC of this game. So I added some emblem bracelet hunting and tried to not get anybody killed. I tried. Well, not that that went so well. I did like all of the DLC maps though, as they definitely gave me a run for my money, my 25 bucks. I can say the same for the middle climax maps, as they provided their fair share of balance, even killing off a bunch of my units, including Chad Lewis, who I was planning on promoting before but completely forgot about. He was definitely my strongest character, but surely that ended very quickly. I could have used the time crystal on him, but as I didn't particularly care about his demise, I just let him die. Furthermore, the game decides to amp up the difficulty by making us restart or search for emblem rings. Sure is a good way to make the game longer than it was initially going to be. We do get to see Evil Marv being summoned. I'm not sure what is more evil about him though. Did he get even more definitely adult soldiers in his army? Doesn't really matter, as we still have our emblem bracelets. Or actually just better, because they were more expensive than the actual rings. The game then throws an absolute curveball of a map that I easily clear in 3 turns. And then I decided to spend even more of my 25 bucks and play through the whole Fell Xenologue, the DLC story of this game. A fun thing to note about this DLC is that no unit actually dies and that no character actually levels up, making it for a truly unique Fire Emblem experience where cheesing the maps are quite impossible. Well, impossible? Just a bit less easy. The story of this DLC is quite fun, as everything is dead aside for a few characters and just a big cleanup of deleting all those corrupted that look very alive for some reason. But funnily enough, everybody has the opposite character than in the main game, aside for Mavir, who dies in the DLC and is a recruitable character in the main game. But as for later, I will definitely talk about that. I definitely didn't forget to script that, I'm sure of that. I must say that every single map in this DLC had incredible design that made me really appreciate the design of Fire Emblem maps even more. It did help that we had predetermined units that didn't need any training. It gave me a feeling of determination to not try and cheese these maps. I especially liked the final map and second to last map where you can't use Alear and instead have to use Nell as a main character. Side note, Nell was the spouse of the divine dragon in the world, so cause I felt kinda bad, I decided that my Alear should marry her. Oh, and by the way, after the DLC was done, we got 5 more characters. I used 4 of them because they were quite strong. And oh, by the way, part 2, I finished up all other DLC paralogs after that, so I could finally use all the good bracelets. And Chrom. I'm joking, Chrom is pretty good. And now we are at the end game, which consists of like 13 more optional paralogs to be able to marry someone and get the max bond with every single emblem, which comes with a lot of perks, by the way. It was at this point I realized Alear was falling off, so I decided to be smart and grind him, because he's the only unit I have to constantly keep alive, and I can't just put him 6 feet under because I don't like his builds. But I will tell you though that the real main character of this game is Haya Papaya Yunaka, because holy, she's good at making people stop breathing. She also has the perk of poisoning people, which I still have no idea about how that works. Yeah, it might be a weak status effect, I know, but I just don't know what it does. It just gives a little icon and that's it, right? But it doesn't matter if it doesn't really do a lot, right? I do like that this game doesn't hold back even on normal difficulty, because if you drop your guard once, a bunch of enemies can go for your weakest unit and just chain attack them, which has a high chance of hitting and always does 10% of the maximum HP. So one chain attack won't hurt, but imagine 5 of them that just build up. So you're basically, in simple math terms, boned. Going even further in the story, it basically comes down to, well, attack the enemy and find the jewelry. That's about it until we get to chapter 17, where we have 6 emblems and the enemy has 6 emblems. That together makes an incredibly difficult map that's evened out. It actually is supposed to be difficult if you don't have an over-leveled Yunaka, but I do have an over-leveled Yunaka, so this game is obviously very trivial now. It might have also helped a little bit that I have like 7 extra emblems because of the DLC, but it's a fair fight, right? We also fight Veil for some reason. If you don't know who Veil is, I conveniently forgot to talk about her because I didn't really want to talk about her. It's kind of a plot point in the game that I don't really care about much, but she's a cool character to use, but she's only there for like a few maps. So, like, yeah, I should stop rambling, alright? I'd rather ramble about how broken this game is and how much fun this broken mess really is. Like, did you know that you can literally make Kagetsu and Alchrist crit like 80% of the time with just like making weapons really busted and like putting an emblem on them? Which is funny because it also definitely felt like it was 60% of the time instead of 80% of the time. I'm not gonna lie, I don't believe these numbers anymore. The amount of 1% crits I have seen is incredibly high. So no game, I don't believe you anymore. I'm not gonna lie, I truly do like the maps in the endgame of Fire Emblem Engage. Did I just call the final 9 maps endgame? Yes I did. Because story-wise we are clearly in the endgame. Elir has died like twice now and he became an emblem. The Fire Emblem, yes, they said it! I was wondering where the Fire Emblem of this game was. It was right under our noses. Who could have guessed that our main character was gonna be anything special? What's even more special is that Elir got removed from the parentless main characters for now, since our big bad guy Sombron is actually Elir's dad. But we can't have that. This is a Fire Emblem game, and he must be sacrificed since we can't have a main character with parents alive. We don't need it. We also finally have all of our emblems to our disposal and can now finally really start mowing down the remainder of Sombron forces, which included these two who got a sad and sappy ending, this random guy who we don't really care about that got adopted by some old lady, and then this old lady who, wait a minute, that's Lumera. Oh yeah, that's Lumera. That's Elir's mom who spent like 10 minutes dying like 35 gameplay hours ago. But this map is incredible. Wow. I see this as the actual final boss map, as I truly love the design of this map. And the music. The music is amazing. And Lumera herself is really strong as well. This map definitely belongs in my top 10 all-time favorite Fire Emblem maps. It is sad though that Lumera gets absolutely trivialized by Emblem Lyn and Alchrist with a good Esther Storm. And of course she spends another 10 minutes dying. How could she not? And now in epic shonen anime fashion, it is finally time to finish up this game. And that's the map. I expected something more, not gonna lie. I wish they actually got models for all of the previous bosses as emblems, but I'ma be honest, the game needed to be like 2 times longer to have implemented that correctly. Aside for that, the boss is very trivial. Sure, some people died, but that happens when a total nut of a person plays through Fire Emblem. Unlike in Three Houses, I didn't have the chance to put that many characters 6 feet under. So I know I will have to play this game again, just to have a higher unaliving count. Well, the game also ends with every emblem just disappearing and telling you to play their games. Aside for Sigurd, he somehow just says that he's invited to a barbecue that he's very excited about. If you want to know what I think about Fire Emblem Engage, here is a short gist of it. I absolutely adore this game and love its characters. I do enjoy the story quite a bit, but feel like it could have been executed definitely better. The gameplay is absolutely phenomenal and pretty balanced if you ask me. I certainly can see why some people don't like it though. Either way, I had around 150 gigabytes of footage for this game and zero motivation to make a 1-hour video on this game because I recently got a job and I'm just more exhausted than ever. Either way, I still hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing and liking. See ya!